the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
He was a great player at UT, and it would have been nice if they interviewed some other guys and just heard some other voices and maybe, philosophies and perspectives on coaching. I didn't like how it was rushed. It would have been nice if maybe they brought in Mike Vrabel for an interview, or interviewed some of these other young offensive minds, Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, and on and on. But hey, look, they went with Jerod. That was the plan. That was the succession plan that was in place. And here we go. We're off and running. Free agency in a month, the draft in 2.5 months. Let's go.
When you look at, because a lot of it too in coaching, it's just like, what kind of staff was Mayo going to bring? Was he going to be able to keep Steve Belichick, right? Where there was questions, because I think he was close with Steve, if I remember reading reports correctly. And it was like, oh, would Bill take Steve if Bill gets another job? And obviously Bill flirted with Atlanta, and that did not come to be. But I mean, Steve's now DC with Jed Fish up there in Washington. But I think Brian, the other brother, is staying on as safeties coach.
Or on the defensive staff,
somewhere on the defensive staff, and so he's there. And then you look at the rest of that, because like you said, it's a QB friendly league. If you don't have a QB, none of this matters. Like, it doesn't matter how good of a coach Mayo is if you're still going into another year with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi as your answers under center. We know how it's probably going to go in New England, but with a different quarterback, and depending on what the rest of the staff looks like, then hey, the sky's the limit here with Mayo. But when you look at this final group, I mean, this is a really interesting group of coaches, and I didn't think Mayo would go this route. And I imagine a lot of Pats fans were kind of surprised at how filling the vacancies on this staff were. So was Van Pelt someone that you circled that you were like, oh, this could be good? I'm a fan here, or what do you think about Mayo's staff?
I don't know. Like I said, I want to see what the roster is built around it. But yeah, Alex Van Pelt, kind of interesting. Okay. I mean, look, I think at this point, not Joe Judge is good, not Matt Patricia is good. I thought Bill O'Brien was gonna do a good job with Mac. I thought he was gonna get him kind of turned around and squared away. Look, I was probably overly optimistic heading into this past season.
When you say overly optimistic, what did you think it was going to be for the Pats this year?
I kind of thought they'd go 9-8 or something like. I thought they would be around 500. I thought they had winnable games on the schedule coming into the year. I also just thought Bill O'Brien would provide kind of a steady hand and kind of get back to doing the things that Mac did well. Yeah, didn't anticipate Ramondre Stevenson, injury regression, didn't anticipate, the kind of wide receiver group having a bunch of injuries. And, you don't expect on the defensive side, your first round pick to get injured and your defensive player of the year candidate to get injured and out for the year, Christian Gonzalez and Matthew Judon. You don't anticipate that. But on the offensive side of the ball, I guess I just didn't think that Mac would just completely lose it. Yeah. I'm watching Tiger Woods today at Riviera at the Genesis, and he shanks one on 18. Look, it happens to even the best players, but you don't expect, a guy in his third year who had such a good first year, and then 2022 was just a disaster because of Bill's coaching decisions on the offensive side of the ball. But you don't expect him to just completely lose confidence. Yeah. And you saw it after the Indianapolis game overseas in Germany that it just wasn't going to happen, and he completely lost it, and it was probably never going to happen, and he would need a fresh start somewhere. And so got to get different quarterbacks in there, got to get a whole new room. Honestly, Bailey Zappi, fine, good kid, whatever, I wish him well. Can't have either guy on the team next year. We got to have a whole new quarterback room. Let's draft a guy number 3. Let's draft another guy in the draft. Let's bring in a veteran who can kind of be that voice in there, kind of a quasi quarterbacks coach, and let's get a total fresh start. There were some flashes, but not enough. If you just watch the Pats every week, the offense was just such garbage, such hot garbage. It's a wonder they scored any points at all, to be honest.
No joy. Well, I was right there with you. I don't know if you watched enough of the
Falcons. There was no joy. It was rough. I got to say, and then it gets to the point, I forget what week it was, when you're just like, Oh man, this is bad. I think it was the Saints. It was the home game against the Saints where they got spanked. I don't know, it was 34-0 or something like that. And you're just like, oh, this season's over. You know, you go down to Dallas and you get whooped. Well, that's kind of to be expected. Dallas was one of the best teams in the league in the regular season. But then you come home and you play New Orleans. You have a chance to kind of get back on track and see what you got. And to just completely no-show and get shut out, you're just like, oh, we need to lose every game now. we every game needs to be a loss. I'm openly rooting against this team, and because I want a high draft pick, we have to get one of the top 2 picks. And didn't expect Washington to just they lose 9 in a row to end the year.
Yeah.
And so you don't really see that coming. Yeah, I thought the Pats were in the driver's seat for at least the number 2 pick. But I don't know. People gave me a hard time on the show and on Twitter about it. Like, oh, what kind of fan are you? You're openly rooting for them to lose. I'm a realistic fan. I'll tell you exactly how it is. I always, err on the side of optimism. But when it's so clear and obvious that they're just a bad football team, why win? Why win 6 games? Just so you can have the 12th pick and have no shot at anything. Like, come on.
Yeah.
We're all or nothing.
All or nothing. Just
all or nothing on the wins and all or nothing on the losses. Like 8 and 9, 7 and 10 does you nothing.
Yeah.
I
just imagine you in your living room on Sunday afternoons in Southern California, just like shouting at your TV, like, and cheering every Mac pick, where you're just like, there we go. Now we're back at like.
I'm not rooting for him to play bad. Like, literally just rooting for 1-point losses, like 24-23, but still lose. You know what I'm saying?
We're getting really specific. We're getting really granular here, Chris, and what you want for your team.
Like that Christmas Eve game, like against the Broncos, like Chad Ryland was. I don't even think you can defend it. He was the worst kicker in football last year. He was so bad, and he makes like a 50-something yarder to win that game. Like, come on, man, what are we doing? Understand the assignment.
Oh my God.
Keep it real. Keep it real, Chase. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna go to Chili's later and have a Big Mouth burger and some salsa, chips and salsa.
Are you going to Chili's later?
No, but I just thought you'd
I love the idea of you going to Chili's later. Hey, Chili's is great. Chili's is everything.
We've been talking about Chili's for like 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, Chili's it's a perfect menu. Like, there's not one bad thing at Chili's. Like, it's a perfect menu. Like, I go into Chili's, guess what? I'm gonna enjoy anything I get. I can close my eyes.
It's not it's not like Cheesecake Factory. It's like it's not like this thick, like some other places.
No, and it's just, you know what you're getting, and it's great every time. I don't care if I'm not in the mood for honey chipotle crispers. Guess what? And I accidentally pick that on the menu. It's gonna be great. I'm not gonna want to do anything later. It's gonna be great.
So here's the thing. Like, whoever the Pats take at 3, whether it's Shane Daniels or whether it's Drake May, I will be super excited. I will buy my son a jersey.
Okay.
and we're gonna get hype about it. I just hope they can surround him with you can't predict injuries, but a healthy, competent offensive line. Let's draft a wide receiver or 2. We got good tight ends. We got the running backs coming back. And let's go for it. And then by the time August rolls around, I'll talk myself into, hey, this team can go 9-8, 10-7, and like make the playoffs. Like, let's go. Look at CJ Stroud last year. Why can't Jaden Daniels and Drake May have a CJ Stroud type season? And that's exactly what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I'm already mentally prepared for it to happen. I just want to see them go out and like be bold, spend the money. You got the cap space. Just go for it, man. Like, what have we got to lose?
I love it. I love the optimism. Speaking of Belichick for a second, I was curious if, like, because there's the rumors this week about Belichick and Kyle Shanahan and the respect that Mike Shanahan and Bill Belichick have always had for one another. Bill's obviously not getting a head coaching job this cycle.
Nicely done,
so
nephew.
He's looking at a year off.
The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.